Hello Lantern Magician, I'm Jay, your guide to cut through the hype and actually master your EOS M. And in this episode, we're going to talk about recording modes, which is the place the Magic Lantern community loves to argue.
Only shoot 5K anamorphic, everything else is garbage.
3K is the only way to get real sharpness. 1080p is dead.
2.8K is overrated.
But here's the truth. Unless you really understand what these modes are doing under the hood, none of these opinions matter. Magic Lantern doesn't just give you different resolutions, it gives you different engineering solutions. Some modes minimize moiré, some crop the sensor for sharper results, some give you wide cinematic aspect ratios, others maximize lens coverage. There's no perfect mode. Each of them is a tool, but only if you know how and when to use it. In this video, I'm showing you a simple framework for understanding what's actually happening when you select 1x1, 3x3 or 1x3. Once you understand what is driving these settings, you'll stop chasing options and start building real confidence. So, when it comes to modes, the Magic Lantern developers have given us tons of options. So many that it can be a little confusing at first. And to make things even more complicated, some of those modes come with some pretty strong clocking issues, resulting in problems when it comes to syncing audio and video over longer takes. So while this is not affecting most filmmakers, this can certainly be an issue for anyone who's planning to use the camera for interviews, talking head, or anything where you have longer takes and you need absolute precision even after, say, 45 minutes of recording of audio and video being perfectly in sync. And again, especially important for anyone who plans to use multi-cam setups. But don't worry, we'll cover all of this. I have developed a dedicated chart to make it very easy for you to make informed decisions when it comes to any of this. But just remember, there's no such thing as a perfect camera. They all have their quirks and shortcomings. So if you consider the bang for buck you get with this baby, there's simply nothing that comes even close. Okay, so now to the modes. Overall, there are three distinct groups of modes that each use different technological principles to achieve the image, and each of them also featuring different levels of crop on the image. And as a bonus tip, the way I often use this is kind of like a free set of lenses. Picture this, you could start with one lens only, for instance, like a 16mm wide-angle lens, and then just by flipping through the modes, you basically get three different focal lengths. And this can also come in handy when, say you're filming wildlife and you just can't get close enough to whatever animal you're trying to film. You can use this principle, flipping through the modes, to get some extra reach. So in order to get our heads around all of these modes, let's kick things off with looking at a general overview of the three main groups of modes and their particular distinctions. Alright, so now let's look at the first mode called the 3x3. Go into the crop mode menu and select 3x3, and then we have three choices. Those three, and the one in the middle is the most basic one, and that's the one we're gonna look at now. And once it's selected, I just half press the shutter and loosen the tripod, half press the shutter again, and that zooms in so that I can make sure the focus is spot on. And now I'm going to reframe to where I think it looks good, kind of following the rule of thirds there. And I guess, yeah, right there. So I'm going to fix the tripod now, and I'm gonna press record, and that's what we get. Looks pretty nice, doesn't it? And we get a green light indicating that, we can record basically forever. The only limitation obviously being the amount of storage you got in your SD card. And now I'm gonna do the rolling shutter test. And as you can see in this mode, it's not the worst, it's not the greatest, it's kind of average, you would get on many other cameras. And I'm going to stop the recording now, and let's play back. And one thing to point out on this camera's playback is that it's going frame by frame really, really slowly. You can't really see it now, obviously, because it's like a still composition. There's nothing moving going on in the frame. But what I'm doing now is I switched from all to exact. And what that does is just skips every other frame. And you can swipe through the preview quicker. But there's no real-time playback. Okay, so that was the 1080 mode representing the 3x3 mode category. And now we're going to go to the 1x3 category. And on the bottom, you can see what it's all about. It's reducing vertical pixels and thereby reducing aliasing and moiré. And I'm going to go with what's called the medium resolution preset. These presets are just about resolution, basically. But here's where it gets quirky. So the lowest resolution preset is called UHD, and we have a 25 FPS option. And if I switch higher to this, what's called the 4.2, suddenly the 25 option is gone and we only get 24. And so in some instances, I would be forced to go with this lowest resolution one. And I deliberately chose like a 25 timeline to demonstrate. And as you can see, the first thing we note is the overall frame has shrunk compared to the 1080 mode. And as I acquire focus, the screen goes black. How do I fix it? Just press the half shutter. So black screen, press half shutter, don't panic, easy fix. And now that I got my composition, I record, and as you can see, it's super beautiful, just a little smaller. The frame is a little smaller and we get continuous recording. And now I'm going to compare side by side 1080 and this mode. And as you can see in the detail, this is where this mode really shines, because out of the gate, it sort of eliminates all of those strange artifacts that can happen in the 1080 mode. And while there are ways to avoid them, it's handy to know that there's a mode that, avoids them altogether. At the expense, of course, of a generally speaking, slightly smaller frame. And as you can see, slightly worse rolling shutter. Okay, so that's one of two downsides. And one more note on the aliasing and moiré. Places to look for it are diagonal lines as here in the wood, or any fine detail such as in this cup as demonstrated. But also things like fabric and sand. And so this mode takes care of it, as well as our next mode, which is called the 1x1. I would call it the high resolution mode because it gives us almost Pocket 4K Blackmagic kind of quality. And I'm picking this one out of like a whole bunch we will look at later, because this one gives us 25 FPS and 16:9 ratio, which some of the other modes that have even higher resolution don't. And there on the left you can see the exact pixels. Okay, black screen, half shutter, and there you go, super tight crop. And what I'm pointing at now, it says 25.009, and that can be a problem, particularly for, when you record things such as long interviews where the camera is on for like an hour, and over time this can cause syncing problems with your audio and the video. Okay, but more on this later. I have an extensive chart that makes it very easy to take care of this. So for now, I'm gonna refocus and pressing the half shutter for this. And already we can tell that there's a lot more detail compared to the other modes at the expense of a much, tighter crop. And now I'm pointing at the fact that we are still in 14-bit color depth, and which, as you can see, will cause problems at high resolution modes such as this one. And let's see how much we get in terms of recording time. 12, there we go, 12 or 13 seconds. Okay, so there's a limit. And okay, black screen, half shutter. Before I show you how to fix or work around that limit, let's watch the playback. Okay, works like just fine, like in the other modes. So how do we fix it? We have to reduce the bit rate. And this is how we do it. Let's go to 12-bit. Okay, 14, there are the options. Let's go to 12-bit and press record. Okay. Very, very beautiful. And we get orange. And it stays at orange. Green would be better, but orange means it's basically continuous, you know. And sometimes it can depend, you know, when the camera is super hot and you have no like cooling, like a little fan on it, it can sometimes cause it to, you know, stop earlier. But since we're at, 42 centigrade, this could go on forever, basically. Okay. And also if you're overexposed, like really crazy, then sometimes this can reduce your recording time. But if you're exposing correctly, this could go on forever. All right. So, and finally, let's do our bubble test. And clearly this is the worst for rolling shutter. So keep this in mind. It's the best quality, the highest crop, and the worst rolling shutter. And that's our overview done. Okay, now that we've got the modes sorted, the next question everyone runs into is this: massive rigs costing 10 times the cost of the camera, cages, batteries, screens, handles, cables. It's like bolting a spoiler and racing stripes onto a shopping trolley. So, do you really need it? Click the next video to find out.